So something not very chill happened last week after we were done recording.
It's almost like a sequel. If you listen to our last episode,
yeah, it was the worst kind. You know, essentially, all my fears of what it was in the dark underneath the canopy of our front door came true. And it came true in the most like horrific cinematic way. You can't tell me that didn't feel like a movie for a moment there.
I had emotions. I had feelings.
I heard you yell.
I think that was you.
No, bro,
that was you.
I heard you yell too.
I might have yelled, but that might have been you out of body, looking back on yourself, yelling.
Probably. I was outside seeing the spider crawl at us, and I saw it murdering you, just tearing you apart as it made its way to get me. This is awful, dude. I'm getting emotional right now. My eyes are getting watery. I want you to tell it because I think, here's the thing. There's no way I can tell it and truly give it justice because I was, it's like one of those things like someone asks you like, what happened in the car accident? And you're just like, I don't know, man. I kind of blacked out. Like, but you ask witnesses of the car accident and they can give way better reports of like what happened.
For sure.
That's what I need you to do right now.
So, because last week we talked about how there was a spider encounter on the way out of the office, out of the world headquarters studio, and that you had gotten a spider web and spider in your mouth, down your shirt, and there was a little bit of an episode. And so...
Well, we didn't... By the way, welcome to the Mick and Pat Show. Sorry. Welcome to the Mick and Pat Show, because this story could take a couple minutes. Thanks for joining us all, Ken. Just want to give a shout out and plug to those of you who listen every week. Appreciate you. And if you listened last week, you are familiar with the horror stories of me walking into the spider web out front and walked into something hard, big though. It was a big thing that felt like, it felt like, honestly, this is the best way I can describe it. Pick up, if you're at home right now or you're going home, listen to this, okay, and do it so that way you understand. Just pick up the string to your blinds and close your eyes and kind of dangle it so it hits you in the face. Like just so it, like it gently bonks in your face. And you're like, oh, that's a solid piece of plastic.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it felt like, dude. If that's what it felt like I had ran into. And the idea of a bug or spider being that dense and big, very unsettling. But we didn't see it.
I was about to say, and I think it's the same one.
I think it was too.
And so
He's like, I'll get this bitch next time.
Is it more concerning now having seen it? Like, is the first experience now even worse? Knowing the sheer girth of this spider?
Yeah, dude, 100%. Because like it's one of those things of like, you as a child you're like, there might be a monster in my closet, but you don't know. And there's only one way to know for sure is if you go check or someone checks.
Yep.
But if you check and there is a monster, you're dead.
Yeah.
But if you have your mom or dad check and there's no monster, then everything's okay, right?
Which I still check behind every shower curtain for a clown. I still, like, while I'm peeing, and I do it fast.
Every shower curtain for a clown, really?
If I'm peeing next to the shower curtain.
Be serious, not comedic. Do you actually, is that like actually like a habitual thing you have to do is make sure there's no one behind the shower curtain?
Yeah, and I do it
every
with
bathroom?
a speed and action of violence that would scare the clown. Because one time...
Yeah. No, that's the way to do it though. Because if there is a clown, the one time in your life there will be, you'll be ready to dance.
You gotta get him, dude. Because there was a... whatever, like the 1990s version of It was on
with Tim Curry,
which I've never seen. I've still never seen.
Oh, really? Excellent. It's so good.
I bet if I watch it now, I'd be like, this is so not scary.
I don't know,
but
bro. Tim Curry's really good at it.
But not scary enough that I would have to check the bathroom curtain for the rest of my life. But it was on TV. I walked in the room and the scene where It is in the shower or the boy is in the shower. I don't know, one way or the other. Someone's in the shower and the clown is coming after the boy. I saw
coming out of the drain.
I saw just that scene and it undid me. And I've, since that day, I check the curtain. I check it hard. I check it fast. I may even, if I'm midstream, I don't care. I'll make a mess. I got to check. Get that curtain back.
I respect it. I mean, for me, that one wasn't it. I think the one that was really it was honestly Psycho, which is the fear of not something being in the shower behind this curtain, but something coming in.
Mm-hmm. So you just shower curtainless.
Yeah, I just full on shower. That's actually why I kind of like glass showers.
Just naked and water everywhere.
Because like if someone comes, like if someone opens the door and I'm in a glass shower, like I will immediately diffuse that, right? Like they're coming in there, like I'm gonna kill this guy, and I just like take my nuts and press them against the glass screen. They're like, damn, you got me. Like, get out of here.
Oh yeah.
No, but like I get that. Not Gothica. What was the one with like the Korean kids that like they it's like the one where she's showering and then like there's a second pair of hands in her hair while she's showering. You don't know what I'm talking about? One. Oh, dude, it was so scary as a kid. It was like not Gothica. Gothica was the one with Halle Berry. Anyways, never mind. But that one also made me scared because I would be showering with my eyes closed, right? You're soaping. And I'm just like waiting to feel another pair of hands touch my head.
That'd be a great move to do to somebody. Just sneak in the shower. And
you get to do it once to your wife before she leaves you. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think if I did that to Billie Jean, she might kill me in my sleep.
I might have her let me in so I can get you while you're showering. Just a quick.
I shower with, dude. Hey, shout out. You guys can go check this out. We're sponsored by Filster Enigma, the Enigma holster. We're not really, but
you're a never nude.
Yeah, I just have the holster always on, even naked, bro.
Because you don't need pants for it.
You don't need pants. You just cinch it around your waist, bro, on your hips.
So, anyways, these spiders.
The spider.
Really, there was a prequel to this spider's journey, I think. Because we should give it justice. Because do you remember 3 weeks ago, I pointed out on my truck as we were leaving, I was like, look at this cool spider web.
And I was like, nah, man, it's good.
Yeah, and I was like, this spider is huge. And you're like, no, I'm good. And you're just like, and you
did you see the spider?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just saw the web.
No,
and we were like, it must be big.
No, it was a big spider. It was about half the size of the spider we finally came to.
Dear God, you mean in 2 weeks it doubled its size?
Dude, I think it was the same one.
Jesus.
He's been munching down.
Pat, if we didn't kill it, it would have grown to the size of the earth in 13 days.
It's exponential.
At that rate?
We would have needed nuclear weaponry. And so we saw it a few weeks ago. And then last week.
Pass out a few weeks ago.
2 weeks
Mick
ago.
Went into his car like a sane person.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. It got Mick in the mouth, in the face. And then.
Still don't know if that's what it was. Could have been a nut, an acorn in the web.
It could have been. It's about acorn-sized body. Which is a
its
large
ass
spider.
Was the size of an acorn.
That's what I'm saying.
Put that in perspective, people. If its ass is the size of an acorn.
Oh, no kidding. And so anyways, we come to last week where we've just got done talking about this dang spider. And you're exiting first. You're the point man.
I'm at the door.
And you're opening it. And
I'm checking corners
you
so hard.
fully open. Well, you checked before you opened.
Yeah.
You were looking through the glass window. And then.
No. I turned to you and I said, hey, man, I think I need you to go first.
You did. Yeah, you're like, can you go first? But then this was as you open the door.
Yeah.
You say that. And then we're kind of standing shoulder to shoulder at this point. And my truck was backed up to the curb. And this spider.
Distance from the door to the truck was probably 3 feet.
Yeah. Probably, that or a little more. And this spider, she likes my truck. She keeps building webs on him.
Liked.
Yeah. And so, spoiler alert. But so the web must have been around like the hitch. It was building a web.
I thought it went to your rear windshield wiper. You know, it went from the banister or whatever over our door to your rear windshield wiper. There we go.
I think it was even lower because of how tall my truck was, and it came out of the darkness.
It
came up out of the darkness.
For those who have seen Jaws, you know when the camera's panning in on the guy on the beach, and it's literally like it's zooming into his face while also like it's dollying into his face while zooming out. So it does that weird perspective zoom, and that's what happened. Like I'm looking at this thing, and all I see is this tiny silhouette, you know, crawling on its web from the truck hitch up to our faces
at a high rate of speed.
And I see it go from the size of, you know, like the tip of my pinky in perspective to the size of a damn football, motherfucker. Like I heard it going, and it was like I could hear its nails clacking, and I saw Pat die in front of me. It was all in a moment. I was like, "It's gonna kill him. It's gonna tear through like tissue paper." What happened, Pat?
Well, you saw.
What'd you do when you saw it?
I think I stood kind of still. I think I did because here's what I think I did you know, I did the sympathetic flinch, you know, like out of you moved and I moved, but then I saw it and I stopped, but all of a sudden, first thing I knew it was just, oh, and then you were not in front of the door anymore after you said that, like, and it's at this point it's up, and it had come up past our faces, and we can't find this thing for a brief moment, and then you're like, you're just saying, I think for a little while there was a little bit of like just yelling like, oh my god, and I saw it and I was like, my internal dialogue was very similar, because it was a big old spider, and as you were recovering from the initial instance of it, you're just like, you gotta kill it, man, you gotta kill that thing. And I was like, oh, look at this thing, because at this point I'd located it, and it was big. Did you ever come around and look at it?
I saw it dead on the ground.
Okay, so
but I also saw pictures of them, you know, elsewhere. So
you saw it come up at your face. The next time you saw it, it was dead. But this thing was stopped, and it was perched. It was now in the door frame, and it was big. I mean, like, adult male, make the okay sign. That pointer finger and thumb finger. That's how big the butt was in there, just about.
Yeah.
It was a big butted spider.
So, and orb weaver, I think.
I took my trusty rainbow, and it ceased to exist.
Rainbow? Was that what you call your shoes?
Rainbow flip-flop.
Oh, okay.
Took my rainbow flip-flop, and I whacked it. And just as how, it's always interesting how, to me, any spider that is big and scary, once you kill it, it gets so tiny. This one was
the hydraulics, bro.
I know, they just get so tiny and delicate.
But bro, dude, this is the sound it made. Everybody, this is the sound it made after he smacked it with the chancla, and it hit the floor.
Thudded.
It literally thudded, and that made me almost throw up, dude. I was like, "That's how big that thing is."
It crunched, and the whole
you could have shot it with a 9mm, and it probably would have survived.
the whole toe and ball of my foot on the flip-flop was covered in junk. It was a lot of spider. But the spider will mess with us no more, except for probably all the babies it had.
Yeah, up there, what I was thinking when I walked in today? Dude, I was so unsettled when I was trying to walk in today. I was like, I gotta do it to get in here. I was like, it probably ate that fucking bird. There's a bird's nest up there, and I'm like, that's why the bird ain't there. It ate the bird. It ate the bird babies.
It might have.
Dude, that thing is big enough that it could wrap up a newborn baby bird.
It's true. And it is an orb weaver, which also is the same spider as the beloved Charlotte of Charlotte's Web. And we killed it. We killed Charlotte.
Yeah, bro.
Poor Wilbur.
That was like the most intense sympathetic response I've ever had to flight. That one was I know we'd already said this, it may seem like a repeat, but that was, I was like, I'm gonna run. Immediately before I could have another clear thought, It was just out the back door. That's all I heard in my head was out the back door, out the back door. And like I got to the stairs to go up to the second level before I stopped myself, and I was like, no, like you don't need to run out the back door. That's excessive. But it was that strong of a flight. You know what I mean?
And we kind of...
I don't run from fucking anything. Like I've never run from a fight, never run from a big scary dude. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was ready to hightail it out of here, bro.
And it had been built up because we had just spent a whole half of a podcast
talking about
discussing it. But this is a live news report from Mick after this happened. This is Mick live.
Is this on the Ring doorbell?
Yeah, here we go.
Smoke break.
Smoke break.
Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you can put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? Bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick and Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution.
We have a rapist in Lincoln Park. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they're raping everybody out here. The attacker.
Who was that guy? I remember him, yeah.
His name was Anton Dotson.
Which is crazy because I think so many people think that was like a skit from like the Dave Chappelle show. And no one knows like that was just a real man out there warning people.
Yep, just with a real personality.
They raping everybody out here. Dude, I freaking love that. Anyways, so that happened. Spider stuff happened. And time to move on. I did get a text message from, my buddy, and he's like, "Hey bro, you're not going to believe the size of the spider in my window well." And he lives like 1 block over from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Dude, send a picture because we saw a spider the size of like $1 coin at this podcast studio." And he sends it and I was like, "That's the same motherfucker. It ain't dead."
It came home with
I was
me.
like, "Look, man, you got to kill it right now." And then there was one outside that I was actually outside of our house that Billie Jean was brave enough to hose down and then crush with a stick. It was definitely the same type of spider, just like darker, like the brown pattern version of the orb weaver.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, guys, I looked it up and I've heard that they're very gentle, passive spiders that don't bite and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't give two shits. Like,
so this
it makes my feet and toes curl so hard. It's insane.
And here's a note about the orb weaver though in Colorado. Larger individuals, which I would classify this one as an extra larger one,
Gotta be on that side.
may give a pinch if grabbed and handled. So they might not inject you with venom, but they could
shit.
they could pinch on you a little.
Yeah. Ugh. Oof, dude, all the chills through my knees and forearms right now. Right up the back of my neck. Anyways, Pat, let's move on to a topic that's not nearly as big of a deal as a spider. But is currently like in the zeitgeist of everything right now. And we've talked about we've talked about transphobia and the trans movement, and just when like the whole Bud Light thing was blowing up, and the Dylan Mulvaney, and just the things that have been insane, insanity on the side of people being absolute degenerates. And the term tranny fluid was like, I just always think of that. I'm like, that's got to be just like one of the most like derogatory dumbass things to say. You know what I mean? And like, I get it, but like the context of it is like so defeating to the like idea that like you could disagree with their lifestyle in a healthy way. You know what I mean? And then the other thing, then on the other side too, of like just like the absolute insanity of like sterilizing children and transitioning children, right? So we've talked on both sides of this, and I think this is like a good example of, people are making it, I think, a bigger deal than it is, because well, I don't know if I can say that. I'm just gonna say it. It's women's boxing. And so like but all that said, like I do think that this is like the actual real conversation of like, how do we accommodate individuals who are born this way from birth, right? And have this, intersex biology, and like try to accommodate them to, give them the best life possible, because it really is a decision that's got to be made pretty quick when the baby's born.
For sure. And what we're getting into here is there is the kind of thing we see pretty common right now, which is whatever, 13-year-olds to 23-year-olds deciding at some point, I feel that I am that I was born a man or born a woman, and I'm going to transition into that, I'm going to, make moves towards that thing. Whereas there's a small percentage of population that has to deal with this. They don't get a choice at all from the beginning about getting to deal with it. They're kind of dealt a hand where their genetics are, such that they are not fully, a man or fully a woman, and so that these individuals have to, the choice is typically made for them at birth about kind of which direction they head, and then also from there, they have, it's just not up to them. And I think that, some people might disagree with like, using the words like a choice or whatever, but it's so much more. These people, they were born with, mixed up organs, mixed up genetics, whereas other folks, kind of are really dealing with something in my personal opinion, in their mental health, I mean,
100%, dude. Like, it is without a doubt, and like, I know, I just want to actually clarify, because we haven't said her name yet, but Amani Khalif, Algerian boxer. Amani Khalif, I say her, not just out of like respect for pronoun and dis choices, and I don't want to be just an asshole to be an asshole, but like, she was assigned female sex at birth. She was born with undescended testes. Her chromosomal makeup is XXY, and she has a vagina but no uterus and no fallopian tubes, and so of course she doesn't have ovaries because she has testes. But so technically, on a biological level, we're talking about someone who has every cell in their body essentially believes they're a man. And their testicles, that even though they're undescended, they're still up there, and they're still producing testosterone. And they're producing testosterone when tested, which Amani Khalif has been tested. When tested, we're producing testosterone at the same rate as any other male, which is why she was actually not allowed to box in, other leagues outside of the Olympics, and other female leagues, I should say, because the testosterone was too high for what was acceptable for essentially being fair in the sport. And so, but all that said, like, and this is almost always the case with these intersex kids are almost always assigned female because the vagina is there and the testes aren't descended.
Right.
So it's a lot easier medically and, with plastic surgery to essentially give them a much more comfortable life, regular life. And it's a lot easier to do like actual, like, this is a case where like, okay, we told you were a girl. We decided you were going to be a girl. You're now 11, 12, starting puberty. We are going to do testosterone suppressants. Because you've been a girl your whole life growing up. And now, if we don't do that, you're going to start growing a mustache and you're going to start getting bulky and you're not going to develop breasts like a woman usually would. And so all that said, like, and this has like been the case for decades. I mean, we've been doing this for these kind of people for a long time.
Because it's not a new thing.
No.
And it's also like, and in like more undeveloped countries, like, these babies present more as a girl, just like on a glance, he'd be like, nothing between the legs, girl.
Probably,
right?
Yeah, exactly. In places where there's not nearly as much, probably affordable medical care for a condition like this, it's also usually places where culturally, if this person lived as a male, they would be shunned from society because they wouldn't be able to partake in the same male things. And like, I know people aren't going to be happy about this, but most people understand where I'm coming from. But like, predominantly like third party, predominantly Muslim countries, like, it's far easier for these intersex people to be a female and live the life as a female for a majority of their lives until they're older and until they can either transition to male or move somewhere where they could get better medical care, just because the male culture is going to be a little bit more. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, man. You've been to Israel, right? You know what I mean? You've been to Yemen and stuff like that. Like, the male culture is going to know very quickly if you have a penis or not.
Right. Yeah. You're pretty like unaccepted, in that sense. And these people are in a hard spot because, they, at the same time, like, this individual too, like, also looks like a girl.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, like, I've definitely seen girls who look more masculine for sure.
So there's, these are the people who, in like, the way we feel about it is kind of like they get to be upset about it and or have to, like, they get to get loud about it, like, because they didn't have, that's the hand they were dealt. Now, what's interesting though is in the realm of sports and or Olympics,
exactly,
what should the protocol be?
Yeah,
because should these people be able to, like, should they be able to get gender affirming care? I think yes, because they need help sorting this thing out, and they deserve, some sort of life of normalcy in these things. But then when it comes to, sports, this very small percentage, which one estimate said that 1.7% of people are born with intersex traits, which I didn't look too much further into that because I think that was
debunked, actually.
I was about to say
because it's the term traits.
I was about to say the traits would be the thing where it's like
they consider. Here's a weird one. This was literally on a medical thing I was reading. Right, it was on a white paper. They literally considered small breast size to be a intersex trait.
Right.
That was assigned at birth.
Right.
All babies have small breasts. You know what I mean? Which I was like, one of those things I'm just like, that, who wrote this?
Well, the other thing is, this stat also came from the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights.
Oh, so made up office.
Yeah. Well, also, and or like, this makes sense to talk about this for human rights, but not from a medical perspective, right? Like,
yeah,
or whatever.
You mean it makes sense from a medical perspective?
Or no. I mean, what I'm saying is like, it makes sense to, you could say something like, 1.7% of these people have intersex traits, and just be like, okay, and like pretty loosely cast that out there from a human rights thing. Like, hey, there's people who are kind of this way or
this
that way.
This isn't a medical office.
This isn't a medical office. It's like, that's not a trait. But so anyways, way less than 1.7%, or else every 100 people, 1 to 2 of them would have you struggling with this. But it's way smaller group of people. But this is the small group of people I'm talking about here, who I'm saying, gender affirming care is like something that they're going to have to go through, as well as like they've kind of just a hard road ahead of them on figuring out who they are, and they should be loved and cared for. But then what's that look like in sports? And like you said earlier, it's kind of interesting too, in one sense. Like, I was watching a couple of clips of different female boxing bouts, and it is anticlimactic. Now, at the same time,
a lot of people, I feel like, think like female boxing is like the same thing as female UFC, and it's not.
Like, female UFC is rowdy. Like,
it can be Ronda rowdy.
Yeah, I've seen Ronda Rousey's face and Holly Holm. Like,
they're brutal with each other.
I mean, I wouldn't mess with those ladies for a minute.
No, dude, I would. I think I'd be willing to try to get in the ring for like charity or something. But like, there's no way I'm just like gonna walk around thinking I can take on Ronda. No,
she would put me in all sorts of compromised positions immediately.
People can't see it, but I'm like holding my breath, trying to decide whether or not to talk. Anyways, go on. I'm deciding to not talk.
And so this has happened before in the past too, a couple times, where another lady, Caster Semenya, she was in the 2016 Olympics. She's a sprinter, or she's a distance runner, middle distance runner. Same thing where she had the same situation.
South Africa.
She was from she was from South Africa, and so she had intersex traits. There was another lady when I was even younger. I didn't look into who it was, but this happens with women. This doesn't happen with dudes.
No,
because you won't be a contender.
I just don't think. Yeah, and also I don't think intersex presents itself with
in the same
ovaries,
manner.
But penile.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you can't. I don't think you can develop a penis and retain ovaries. I think just like, because I mean, it's like we're talking scientific here, right? We all essentially start off as females in the uterus, and as we develop and become babies from embryos, is like one of the last organs to develop is the penis, and the ovaries turning into testes. And so like, I don't know, I'm not a scientist. I'm sure we could find cases of it where it was reported, right? But I have never heard of an intersex case in the public spotlight that was someone that was a male boy who had ovaries, but no testes and but like still had a penis. So all I said, I'm not saying these words to be like jokey or hokey or anything. I'm literally trying to be educational for like the condition, which is why I think like, yeah, you're right. We wouldn't see too much of this, because if a boy had ovaries, he's not going to develop the testosterone to allow him to compete at an Olympic level with other males.
Right. Because it'll show itself in men, and like the growing like man boobies, like real man boobies, and stuff like that, whatever.
Yeah.
So it shows itself in different ways. But yeah, so it's women who have to typically deal with this, and so in the Olympic realm, should they be allowed to compete? And I don't really know if I have a good answer for it. My initial gut reaction is just like, no. Because when you see these people compete against others, it is like a night and day, situation. Now, like, that being said, I'm sure there's a much more nuanced conversation you have around the sporting part of it. But
I mean, look at the most strongest men and women in the world. They're not Olympians. The strongest men and women in the world are on TRT. They are on other additives to help them that are legal in their competing environments, right? but they would never be allowed in the Olympics. Because they're on those enhancers and like their workout routines. Like the closest thing you can see is like looking at the men and women who do shot put. Or I guess like also probably the women who do rugby are probably the closest to like professional female bodybuilders that we see in the Olympics. And so with that, it's one of those things of like, we have other people in society who have a chemical advantage. It's not natural, but a chemical advantage that would never be allowed to compete. And those people know and accept that. And we're making an exception for someone who, by textbook definition, meets the descriptions and has been raised their whole life as a female. But if you look at the chemistry, is like insanely advantaged against the rest of her competitors.
Right.
And I think that is like, you got to think of like what, and all this always comes down because some people are like, yeah, man, we should just have like intersex leagues of all sports, like professional intersex leagues of basketball, like football, wrestling, boxing, UFC.
Especially when it comes to like the full like trans community.
Yeah.
Whatever, right?
And people are like, let the strongest, most fittest, dominate and survive. And I'm like, that's how we'll have like dead women of the football field.
Right.
And like, it is just one of those things of like, no matter how much we want to dance around it, like genetically, you can have advantages. And, as not political correct as it may sound, like it's been shown time and time again, women have a genetic advantage. Women themselves have a genetic advantage over men when it comes to emergency scenarios or judgment. Like literally women will be judged less harshly as men will by society. And it's because women just are more appealing. Like they are a more appealing person than almost all men. And so like all that said, like it boils down, I think, to though everything just boils down to like the spirit of the sport, right? It's the spirit of the game. Yeah. Just like it's the spirit of anything, like, and what is the original intention? And like the original intention is like to have, the most balanced playing field possible to compare individuals.
Yeah, I think the only like main counter argument would be like one, like if it's quote unquote God-given genetics.
Sure.
Like me and Tom Brady have quote unquote different God-given genetics, that like just no matter what, he will be better. Right. And so then like, we don't
know how good he is at like, what if we had like an everyday blue collar Olympics?
I don't know, man.
You could smoke him.
I'd turn into a screwdriver probably.
Yeah.
But the, in this case, like also the other counter argument would be like, these people kind of got dealt a rough hand. Like, is this the one area in their life where they get to be the best? Like they are like,
true.
You know what I mean? Like this is like out of the whole thing. Like these are my genetics. This is what I am, and so,
I mean, at the same time, it's undeniable that they are in a league of their own, smoking other women.
Oh yeah,
like rolling them up and smoking them.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? And so it's one of those things that it's just like, what do you like? What is more important, the spirit of the game and like the integrity of it, or like the concept of like everyone gets the inclusion of everybody who gets the opportunity? Because like, I think there's plenty of people who, something occurs and they don't get their opportunity at the Olympics, even though they've been training their whole life for it. Like, we don't make an exception for them to then get to go. You know what I mean? And granted, like I'm thinking about like, accidents or, Olympian who all of a sudden finds out they have cancer, can't compete. Right. And I don't know. Here's where I would err on it. I think Amani Khalif should be given an opportunity to compete in the sport where regulations allow, right? One, no one's ever going to stop her from recreationally doing it. Right. Two, she's always going to be probably the best of the best. Three, apparently it's been reported that she has lost in boxing matches to other women in the past. So there's other women out there in boxing leagues that can beat her. But when we're talking about the Olympics and the spirit of the Olympics, I think the Olympics is an insanely high level, a very high standard of accountability to the, like, gosh, I don't know. I don't want to say cleanliness, but essentially the purity of the sport and the division of that. Right.
Right.
And so, like, when someone who is genetically a male, but due to their birth conditions and defects, they have lived life as a female, I don't think we need to let them compete against females. I don't think we need to include them. I think we can say, like, look, the reason you won't be allowed to compete is because you will win, without a doubt. And there's no spirit of sport in that. Like, these other women from these other nations don't stand a chance. Dude, like Angela Carini from Italy, tiny 5'6" Italian getting swatted around.
Yeah.
Dude, just brutal. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things, but, like, I think, like, you know, Amani Khalif should be getting a UFC contract, you know?
Right.
Or some other, if she doesn't want to do UFC, like, just do, like, she could be getting a contract for, like, women's boxing, right? So all that said, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I also don't care that much because I don't think it's as bad as, like, a male, born a male, raised a male their entire life, transitioning to be the top of the league in female, you know, UFC.
Yep.
Because that screams to me worminess.
It's a different situation.
Yeah, that's the Leah Thompson thing. Just screams to me like, oh, I couldn't hack it in my own, so I decided to come in and just, you know, take over your house.
Yep.
And, like, that's whatever. I don't care what people think about that. Like, that's just the way it is. They couldn't hack it in whatever league they were in previously, so they go and dominate and get the attention in the other one, get the sponsorships in the other one, the scholarships. But hey, you know, players play the game. You can't blame them. If you told me that was the only way I could get a, you know, full ride to college, I certainly would have considered it. Certainly would have thought about it.
The permanent tuck.
Not the permanent tuck, but, like, I think, dude, come on. A lot of those dudes still have their wieners.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Oh yeah. So we'll see what. I mean, it'll. This isn't new to the Olympics. It's come up a few times, and we'll see where it goes. And, you know, overall, I think that the it'll kind of just become a thing of the past, and there's been some other impressive people in the Olympics.
Oh yeah,
especially this one dude who just looks like a dad.
I think he looks like Gary from Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah,
the actor Yusuf Dikek. He's a Turkish Olympian silver medalist for pistol 22 competition shooting. And he was famously seen with no hearing protection, no specific eye pro, fancy mirrors and eye blocks. He just had his glasses on, hand in his pocket, no weighted vest or out uniform.
Just his polo and his gut.
Yeah, dude. And he doesn't even have a gut, though. He's got the most, like, healthy looking dad bod.
Yeah, but it's not like he's like he's not an elite, like, physical appearance.
Yeah, he doesn't look like, you know, he's not The Rock.
He looks like he programs things.
Yeah, you know? He really does. He looks like a software engineer.
Yeah.
I think he is. But the dude, just total main character energy. People don't even know the name of gold medalists for that. Like, no one knows who the gold medalists were. They just know, like, he took silver. He's awesome. Yeah. He, like, I've seen all these memes about Yusuf Dikek, and like, it's like he's like at the computer typing something, and, like, Turkish officials come to him like, we need you to come back. He's like, I told you I was out.
Yeah.
One last time, Yusuf. Son of a bitch. And, like, he, like, just goes there, hand in the pocket, just half-ass it.
Yeah.
It gives me, you know what he really gives me? It gives me the Incredibles energy of, like, him telling Flash to get second place at the end.
Yep.
Like, number two is good, son. Don't give it away.
Pull it back.
Yeah, and, like, that's kind of like the same thing it gives me where, like, Yusuf, people can't know that you are the most world-renowned assassin.
Yeah.
I'll get second then. But like, anyways, real quick too, before I forget, this did come to me, and now I've totally flipped on everything with Imani. I'm a big believer in precedence, and there's precedence, and the fact that it's been allowed and it's continued to be allowed in other areas.
So for her as an individual, she should not suffer like get her medals taken away because there's been a precedent set.
Yeah, there should not be an exception that she doesn't get to compete because the precedent has been that these other women have been allowed in other sports. So that's actually where I lean. I'm a big Supreme Court guy, and I like precedents. Anyways, but I want to be Yusuf, and I've been slowly trying to get good with my gets. To do it, and I've been updating Pat week to week, and whoever else has been listening. As I just eject my magazine, but I've been
like Johnny English.
Yeah, no kidding. Feels like it some days. Building out the Flux, man, and the Flux is pretty much in its final form for me until suppressors are no longer regulated by the ATF. Boo! Abolish the ATF. But. Just an update for you all. What's working, what's not working. Things I'm going to have to do. So, the Flux Raider. If you know about it, you know we love it. Sweet chassis system for the P320. Harrington arms, double port comp facing upward instead of the side ejecting comps. Great. Works. Totally, definitely noticed a lot flatter shooting. Recoil definitely feels less snappy. I especially noticed with sunglasses and a hat that the Hollow Sun Ames sight I have on top wasn't bumping the rim of my glasses or my hat anymore. Now, maybe do I have just better control? Maybe after shooting, 500 rounds through it. But I've also noticed like it just seems flatter, easier follow-up shots. The thumb, what do they call the thing?
Gas pedal.
Yeah, the thumb pedal, gas pedal.
Gas pedal.
It's up here, and it really does, I think, help because if I didn't have it, I don't know where I'd put my thumb for a good grip now that there's a flashlight. So I think the thumb pedal's great if you're going to have a light, which you should.
And it helps with that comp too. That plus that it helps you just keep it down.
Yeah, it is. And like, I think if I didn't have it, my thumb would just be like, I wouldn't be aware of it, and I think I'd be burning the shit out of my thumb on the slide. Because let me tell you, the number one problem about the Flux is that it's trying to incinerate you. I gave myself like a good first-degree blister burn here.
Yeah, I think that's second degree there.
Might be, bro. What is first and second? What's the difference?
That's a second right there. You're not at third degrees. It's bad. That's a second right there.
I mean, it's a giant, nasty, long, caterpillar-sized blister on my arm that it filled up pretty quick and went numb after pouring cold water on it. Was taking a shower. I didn't even realize until I started to dry off, and it splurted. You know what I mean? It exploded. And now I've just been putting ointment on it and all that. But it's like a good 1.5 inches long. And I burnt it on the slide when I was going to... I can't remember what I was looking at. I think I was trying to wipe something off of the gun, and it just nicked the corner of the slide. And dude, oh my God, it burnt like a bitch. So one thing to know about the Flux, you might want to get a shroud for the front. I think I'm going to get a shroud because that would just prevent the, not being aware of the frame and how hot it's getting. And then Tactical Development makes a shroud for it called the Halo, I believe, and it looks sick. Kind of looks like it'll make it look like the Halo pistol.
Oh, nice.
Charging handle on the slide plate. It's been awesome. Works great. Been really liking my Surefire. What is this one? X300 TA. Super bright. Battery doesn't last long, so you don't play around with it too much. But I've been using it for just practicing like room clearing drills, and it's crazy bright with really good focus. Hollow Sun Ames, I've been just leaving it on the standard mount that it came. The Hollow Sun Ames is excellent. You can get the Hollow Sun Ames, by the way, on discount at Primary Arms. You could go through our link. We get a little kickback, and you guys get a sight super cheap. It's like $100 cheaper.
And I like it a lot.
Dude, it's got to be probably the crispiest green dot I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no parallax because it's a rifle red dot.
And it's small in a good way.
It's small, but it's a wide window.
Yeah, it's a big window, but it's like, its profile does not take up a lot of room.
I did think the mount was kind of gay. Like, it just looks like, I don't know, it's tiny, like it narrows down at the base, but it's growing on me.
All right.
Maybe I'm gay. The slide release lever that replaces your standard lever for releasing the brace. I had the one that I installed that like also released your slide on your actual 320 slide, and what I didn't really think about was that I'm also usually pushing against the brace. So when you release the slide, you collapse the brace. You kind of look like an idiot because then you got to collapse the brace all the way, redeploy it, and you just kind of look like a doofus. So that I would say is not something to get. I definitely gave it to Pat to decide if he wants it or not. Sling setup. The sling setup's cool. The sling setup makes me feel like I am a villain in Die Hard. Because it provides just enough tension to put the sling. There's 2 QD points that come standard on the Raider.
But essentially, when you have it rigged as a 2-point sling, it's essentially a single-point sling until you deploy it.
Yeah.
So you have...
And it doesn't hinder the deployment at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, slow it down one bit, dude.
Because it's one mount is right on the back of the gun, but then the one that's a little further back is right on the brace, and so they're literally an inch apart from each other. Once you deploy it, though, then they're about a foot apart. So it gives you, once you deploy, you have plenty of room to maneuver the weapon, but with the brace collapsed, you really almost like you could like one hand push out and have support from your almost like a single point support.
Oh yeah. It's definitely like, especially to like, I'm thinking like with something like this, with how concealed it is, this is for the civilian use, this is a response platform, just like your concealed carry would be. It's just a little, it's a little bit larger and it's probably being carried off body, right? But if this is a response platform, one thing, if you're responding to an emergency, an active shooter or something like that, is you're probably going to have to be using your offhand to either give commands to people, grab people, pull them out, do medical. And there's just like having this sling on this really frees up your left hand. Like, because you don't need your left hand to actuate anything other than maybe a reload. And even then you don't need it. It just makes it faster. And so I think like you said, like having the sling system set up really serves to be that like extra support tension. And you can really one hand this puppy and I think be pretty accurate with it, especially if you have stock deployed, ATFs listening, brace deployed, and you're just one hand in it, zooming in and making sure you have 2 points of contact on your shoulder and your hand. It's pretty slick. So I did order the limited edition primary arms with Blue Force gear. They have a limited edition Vickers sling on sale right now, exclusive to primary arms. It's called the chocolate chip cookie camo. And I saw it at first. I was like, that's stupid. Why would I buy that? And then I looked at it more and I was like, I do need a sling for a dedicated sling for the Flux. And that looks pretty sick. And I get a discount because of our Make It Pat show link. So I did get that.
How could you not? How could you not get it?
Dude, it's cool, and I'm really excited to show you because I think you're going to like the camo pattern when it arrives here. All that said, Vertex commuter bag is on the way. I'll be testing that out for carrying deployment. And also the Ibex custom Raider rig I just received. It's pretty sick, made by Ibex Customs. Dedicated Raider rig. It's designed for the Raider. Could be used for other pistol caliber carbines and like other mags, but it comes stock, allowing you to carry 5 Raider mags. You could carry up to 5 of the 31 rounders.
It's a lot of rounds.
Yeah, and it comes with 2 loops on the end, on like one on either end, that you can put stretch like tactical string through, and I have it set up with like bungee string to hold a tourniquet, and then the other one, I think I'm gonna have to get a gas grenade, like a smoke grenade. You know what I mean?
Just cause
it looks sick. Or I've been just having a deck of cards on it. Because one, it's always fun to shoot a deck of cards. Like you just like put one card up and you tell someone to shoot it, and you feel like, you know,
a cowboy,
Mr. Miyagi.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking like you feel like the sensei.
Splitting the card.
You're
like
helping
you turn
the
it
grass
sideways.
Yeah, I do. I'm like, shoot this slide. Yeah. No, I don't do that. That's
Cut
too
it
hard
in
for a
half.
lot of new people. But I do put it up, and I'm like, literally shoot the card. And they're like, I can't. I'm like, aim small, me small. And they do it. But anyways, all that said, I love the Ibex Custom Raider rig. I spoke to the owner of Ibex Customs, and I was like, hey, man, guess what? I need a rig by Saturday because I'm doing a big shoot day on Saturday. He's like, bro, I got you. Only one I got made right now, though, is this FDE color. And I was like, I'll take it, dog. I don't care what color it is. I just need one by then so I could test it out. Because I didn't have anything to carry all the mags in, right? And, dude, he sent it 2-day shipping.
Nice.
Sent it out to me real fast. So definitely go check out Ibex. I love it so far.
Man,
it's
is
really
he like
great.
sewing them up himself? Is it like a small
He
operation?
sells them himself, dude.
All right.
Yeah, and he takes a lot of any feedback you have.
Yeah.
He's been improving on the design with like all the feedback he's been getting, and it's gone through like 2 or 3 different iterations.
And that's cool. And the Flux has gotten so much attention. There's like a sub market. I mean, there is a sub market just to Flux accessories and parts and attachments. And
that moves me on to the last thing I'm using for training, which you guys can all hear if you're familiar. It's the dry fire mag. So dry fire mag I've been using for my Shadow Systems MR920. And it's just a dummy mag with a little pedal on a very tactile spring system. And they make a dry fire mag for the 320. And if you do some modification, which I'm going to post a video on how to do it, if you do some modification, then you can essentially adapt it for your Flux. And so it's got that nice tactile clicky reset, and it's safe to dry fire without damaging your spring. So it's pretty sweet. I love it. I think it's great for training. Definitely makes me more accurate because you get a lot of reps in. Also, last thing, trigger. I did a trigger upgrade from Armory something. I can't remember. I think it's Armor Guy. He makes a bunch of 320 parts, but his trigger system is great. Love the reset. I actually increased the tension for the trigger reset to be more tactilely, like you have a higher feedback, and then I lowered the actual trigger brake. So, but that's the Flux update. I'm liking it. I'll be putting videos up soon. I think that's like really honestly what we should just start doing is doing like short form product review stuff because we've been doing so many products and development stuff and just letting people how we enjoy or don't enjoy certain things, which is kind of what I also have here. Just quick update. So Pat's been busy and
it's true.
You know, it's not a bad thing because been making moolah. Been in a good moolah season, but we haven't been able to do as many reviews of movies as I'd like or TV shows because there's just not enough time for Pat to watch them and at the rate me and Billie Jean do. Billie Jean, you know, working from home, it just really allows us to spend a lot of time watching one episode for lunch and then another couple at, you know, dinner, evening. You also have kids.
That's what I was going to say.
Kids is probably a big one.
This is the first year that I really saw, like, I used to crush so much television. And, like, now it was kid 3, just no more. Like I was like, I went down, like, me and my wife this last week, like, watched a show. And I was like, we haven't watched TV in, like, I don't know when the last time was. It just was like, the routine used to be like, put the kids down,
watch TV,
go watch some episodes, like, watch an episode or two, whatever, you know, something. But it does change the game eventually. But the you got a list here. You got some brand new stuff. You got some old ass stuff. I like it.
Yeah, I do. It's just whatever Billie Jean and I have covered this summer, plus whatever I've listened to that I don't think warrants a dog-eared dialogues, but was damn good book-wise. And so first thing, TV show, From is that's all it's called. Another 4-letter TV show, just like Lost. It's made by a lot of the people who were good writers and producers for Lost. And it's even got some of the cast from Lost. It's really suspenseful. A lot of blood, a lot of violence. It's like Lost if they didn't have to make it for network TV.
To come on after American Idol.
But it's got a lot of good questions, a lot of different elements, very stressful, and it is very mystical. And it leaves you wondering the whole time, like, what the hell's going on? But I don't want to spoil too much, but I will say I think it's better than Lost because, it has less content limitations. And I think it's also very similar in that it presents a lot of great questions and dialogue surrounding, like, where are we? Are we alive? Are we dead? Is this a simulation? Who's behind everything, right? The monsters are scary. Its first season's on Amazon Prime, but it's originally made for MGM Plus. If you want to watch more than just the first season, you'll have to get a trial for MGM Plus. Season 3 is about to drop here too, end of August. Bears season 3, weakest of the Bears seasons, dude.
Not surprising.
Billie Jean and I both felt the same way, but so far it was just a ton of, the wheel spinning in place, no progress.
Cooking scenes,
yeah, dude.
Slow.
No, I mean, I guess it was fast paced, right? Yeah. But it was just the same thing over and over again all season with like almost no development. And I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but like the development that there was, it just wasn't with the characters you cared about.
Yeah.
And something about the acting feels just less genuine than season 1.
They're losing the new mojo.
I think what it is like in season 1, the dialogue and the chaos didn't feel fake. It felt like almost like improv and very genuine. And like now it feels like the dialogue's not written and people are having to like kind of fill in while they're talking with expressions and faces that like are just like, I don't know what to say right now, so I'm just going to give you a look, and then I'm going to be like, okay, whatever, man. You do you, boo-boo, right? And it's just like, is this the same writers? All that said, I still think it's good.
Yeah.
But it's such a disappointment. And like the idea that the Bears are going to be season 4, when I'm like one of the main stands for it should have been one season and done. It hurts. Like this is like, it's overstaying its welcome a lot right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could watch. I bet you could watch season 2 and the end of season 2 and watch the beginning of season 4 and feel like you didn't miss anything. If that should speak everything you need to know about my opinion of season 3. All right. House of the Dragon season 2, awesome, great CGI, great hype scenes, medieval drama. It was a total filler prep season to set up the stage for all the armies and stuff coming together for the season 3, which is just going to be like a whole season that is just going to be war. It's just going to be dragons eating dragons and blowing fire on people and armies clashing and ships clashing and cool set pieces. And people are just going to die.
Yeah.
I think it has to be.
Yeah. Like that's
it's based on one book.
Right. This is a classic where like they've set it all up perfect.
Yeah.
And then they do something weird.
True.
But if they give the people what they want, that's what it'll be.
And they said at the end of this one in the behind the scenes, like, we're really setting up the stage for next season, which is just going to be all out war.
All right.
Tight.
Nice.
There was definitely some wheel spinning though in this one too. Needed definitely some more action. Some things could have been resolved, moved along quicker. And there were some odd deviations from the source book. And if you know what I'm talking about. If you read the book, if you haven't read the book, there's probably just some scenes where like, wait, that person just opened up about how they were raped as a child by their father and now they're in the mood for sex. I don't really think that is realistic.
Yeah.
And so stuff like that, it was like just
not a good, hey guys, not a good pickup line.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was pickup line. I don't know,
I'm just
bro.
saying. I haven't seen it, but that sounds like it won't work.
I'll be honest. Like, if a woman is ever opening up to you about serious trauma in her life, and you try to kiss her, you're gonna be seen as a freaking weirdo. Don't do that. Just listen to her and then move on. Sopranos. We finished The Sopranos. Totally worth a watch if you like that kind of, duality of like small family slice of life, work slice of life. I'm just, gotta wake up, do my thing in the morning, and then come home and the kids are crying and ungrateful and the wife is spending all the money. Like slice of life stuff. Very Breaking Bad vibes, right?
Yep.
But it was the precursor to Breaking Bad and all these other ones that we have. It has a ton of nudity though. So if you're like, I'm not really big on nudity, well, don't watch The Sopranos. They literally
They own a strip club.
I was gonna say they use scenes in the strip club with boobies as like transition scenes.
Yeah, like for no good reason.
Yeah.
It's happening.
And there's also a lot of dark themes. So if like you're not someone who enjoys dark themes about betrayal and family trauma, stuff like that, then don't watch it. But I thought it was really good. Great for a one-time watch, at least for sure. Billie Jean and I loved it. Books now. Recursion by Blake Crouch, who's also the author behind Dark Matter, which is now a series on Apple TV. I was like, all right, I'll check out this one because it sounds cool. Really excellent time-bending drama novel. It's a one and done. It's not part of any series. You get one book. It's 9 hours. Follows pretty much two people and just how insane time traveling can be. And it wraps itself up like very honestly, I will say. And both the narrators were excellent. I really wondered a lot. I was very sad a lot. And I've also felt very nostalgic because they really encapsulated what it feels like to like be in a memory of like a time in your life that you're like, it's almost real when you're thinking about it, the smells and stuff. Also, very new time traveling concepts, not your classic grandfather's paradox stuff. I've actually never seen anything, movie, TV show, book do time traveling the way they did it, with the problems that come from time traveling, as well as the plans they try to make to solve the problems. All of it was very new, very fresh.
That's cool.
Only complaint is by the end of the book, there's gonna be a moment where you're like, I know, I get it, the ripple effect. Yes, you said it 5 times in the last like 10 minutes, right? Because it's just kind of like it starts building on itself, and the kind of with that building, it's a little repetitive, but it's still very good. Torment by Jeremy Robinson. I know I mentioned it, I think last week in passing, but it is Dante's Inferno meets like The Road, nuclear apocalypse kind of stuff. I mean, it is, I think, the only book in the last year that like I was listening to the narrator and I had, heart pounding dread of like, oh my God, what is going to happen? I don't know. I literally need to listen. I need to like stay awake so I can hear how this resolves. Very suspenseful, really good religious horror. And I don't want to go any more deep than that because I don't want to spoil nothing, but really good religious horror. Mind Bullet, also by Jeremy Robinson, just shows that this guy can write a lot of different stuff. Mind Bullet is easily the best like action novel, which just feels like an oxymoron because like how can a novel be actiony? Like I've read sci-fi drama, space drama novels that are kind of like, Star Wars or like other mystery action movies, but this is literally just nonstop, chapter to chapter is just one action set piece to another of very iconic bad guys getting killed by very funny and creative assassins. And like it's a kind of like if Keanu Reeves was just like not just necessarily playing John Wick, but like John Wick and Tony Stark combined into one person. Very entertaining, really great book, also really short, but part of a bigger Torment and Mind Bullet are apparently wrapped up in some kind of big book universe. So, but check those out. Those are all the things that have been pretty good, other than the bear. Still good, I guess. But those are my updates for anyone who's looking for stuff to watch or read. They're really good TV shows and books. And hopefully, Pat, you get to check some out. Hopefully some interest you.
Need to check them out for sure.
But here we are at the end of the road here for this episode, our last little point here, and I want to try to just, please the YouTube gods. So if anyone's been, listening, we've talked about before, our actual latest episode got denied any ability to be advertised or promoted because we mentioned Orange Guy, Sleepy Guy, and Smiley Gal. And, Orange Guy, he's running for president again. He was president, but then lost to Sleepy Guy and Smiley Gal. Smiley Gal has now usurped Sleepy Guy and is now running for president because Sleepy Guy is deemed too sleepy. And if you don't know who we're talking about, I don't know how to make it any more obvious. And honestly, just continue to not pay attention to the world outside you. Just live your life. But just a little bit of updates on all these people because, of course, it's the presidential cycle. And it's just pure entertainment and hysteria. I think right now with like modern media and modern social media especially, it's just like, I think most of us, I'm really thinking most people, I have a lot of faith that the majority of people are seeing through the illusion now. And they're like, this is all just like fabricated and made up for whoever's got the deepest pockets, right? Like whoever the flavor of the day is who we're supposed to like, who we're supposed to eventually vote for. And I think that nothing, encapsulates this more than like what everyone's terming like the gaslighting of America by the media for Smiley Gal.
Yeah.
Like we've all been told for years, doesn't matter if you're Democrat, doesn't matter if you're Republican, liberal, conservative, independent, libertarian, all of us have unanimously agreed for years, Smiley Gal sucks. She's irrelevant.
Just not a leader.
Easily the worst vice president for millennials since they've been alive that they can remember. I know a lot of Gen Xers and boomers who are like, yep, that easily the worst I've seen, most incapable.
It's hard to listen to.
Well, and it's like, I mean, I don't have anything against the chick other than like, I mean, here's the thing. I guess I will say this. She's very fake and I'm very against her record of, what she's ruled on, what she's pushed in her political positions.
Right.
But that said, like, it's not like she's Hillary Clinton and, was responsible for the death of our soldiers.
Right.
Like, I don't have something like that vehement, but it is genuinely like, there's no way, dude. Like, can you see Smiley Gal talking to Putin, talking down Kim Jong-un?
I mean,
no, there's no way.
Absolutely not.
Smiley Gal is not going to be the one who mediates a ceasefire between Zelensky and Putin. There's no way, dude. They would never take her seriously. So all that said, the media has been gaslighting, like, for the longest time, she was referenced as being like the first Indian vice president, the first Indian person to be, that close to being president Indian. And she ran on this whole thing that she's Indian. And I remember they did like all these YouTube shows and Netflix interviews of like other Indian celebrities interviewing her and how she's Indian. And like, I guess even then knew, like, I had seen her background that she's half black, but she was running on the Indian horse. And now she's running on the black horse. And a lot of people made comments of like, well, now it's convenient for you to be, black when you want the black vote, right? And some people are upset about that. Some people are not in their heads in agreement. The black community is very divided about it. A lot of, you can see a lot of interviews. CNN just had one recently where they were interviewing a town hall and all the black people were like, she's not black. Like, it's kind of one of those things where it's just like, the media's like, oh wait, this is kind of backfiring. Because now that's like the horse she's riding on. Also, this whole idea of her not having anything to do with the U.S. border is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really feels to me like people don't remember, and maybe people don't, man. But I guess maybe I just have a different memory. Maybe we're in the freaking
multiverse.
Yeah, the multiverse of what's that called? The Bernstein Bears effect thing, Mandela effect.
Mandela effect.
The universes collided, and only half of us remember this. But her and Biden ran in 2020, saying that they were literally in ads encouraging asylum seekers to flood the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And then after she became vice president and they won the election, she went, she was given this role. There's AP article here written in 2021 talking about how Biden appointed Harris for border challenges. And this is, article written in 2021 about what she's going to be appointed and responsible for. And she literally, I remember this because it was memed so hard. She went on TV and gave a message to all of the illegal immigrants and migrants and asylum seekers coming to the U.S. And she looked at them dead in the eyes and she said, "Do not come."
Yeah.
Do not come. And I cannot forget that, bro. The way she just shakes her head at them and is like, "Do not come." And I can't, we all know how that was memed to hell and back, and it was hilarious. But it's as if people just forgot that, and like that was like what she was being overseen for.
And as if that did anything.
Yeah.
Like
still came.
like it's like, and that's it. That was your whole job. Like, he wanted you to handle the border. You said 2 sentences, and that was it.
Well, and here's the biggest thing is like LA Times can't even really defend it. LA Times is saying that she was put in charge to oversee immigration problems.
Mm-hmm.
And then they list out all these things, and they're like, but as all problems do, the immigration problem shifted and they couldn't deal with it. I'm like, bro, if someone came to me and reported that like that is a reason a big project didn't get done at my work, I would fire them.
Or you'd get fired if
that was my excuse. That, yeah, I'd get fired.
The problem shifted.
And honestly, we were working on it, but it shifted.
Yeah.
What? But Hoover Institution, which the Hoover Institution is a research institution that is based on the Stanford campus. It's been around for a very long time. They do a lot of fact checking, a lot of research. They're not a journalist. They're not a political organization. They're just a research institution. And they found that most of the statements around Smiley Gal's role at the U.S.-Mexico border were at best attempting to downplay and at worst just outright deny and distance her from the failure that it was.
Mm-hmm.
And they just went through all these facts. They're like, look, it doesn't matter what your views are. Here are the facts. Like, and we're not about being political here. We're just about the research. What is the truth?
Mm-hmm.
She was in charge of a task force to identify reasons for illegal migration and secure the border. Her and Sleepy Guy, like I said, both ran on open borders message telling people to come and flood the U.S., that they would be welcomed under their presidency and administration. They backtracked on that. And additionally, they found that Smiley Gal was put in charge, part of like what she was in charge for, and what they're framing it as right now is securing the private sector's assets at the border. Do you know what that is? It was land.
Yeah.
It was land and businesses at the border.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay, well, I'm not securing the border, just securing the land at the border. And they also found that the study that Smiley Gal was put in charge of was pretty much absolutely devoid of any statistics, factual evidence, or credentials to what they concluded about the border and its causes.
Yeah.
There was literally like, and this is something we could all download and read. Like, this is not a secret. You can look this up and download it. There's no statistics, no research that was done to provide any like backing to like the claims she made in her report that she presented about the border. It was just like sexual violence, drugs and crime and persecution are why people are leaving their countries and coming to the U.S. Also, we pay 200% more than they make there in a week, in a day. That's our conclusion here. And people are like, no shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we all know nothing happened, but now the media is just essentially gaslighting all of us, saying, no, Smiley Gal was never in charge of border stuff. that's total, like, just, bad framing of what her responsibilities were.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like,
because also, what are the responsibilities of the vice president? Nobody knows.
Chill.
Their responsibility is to, at election time,
polish the rims and smoke blunts.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, their job is to swing a vote.
True.
That's what it is. It's either a battleground state or a certain demographic.
Yeah. All this said, it is hard because this local Channel 13 news station, it was called WVTM Channel 13 News. They wrote an article that was really good about just like outlining, like, why do people, like, why does the media feel like they can gaslight the general public and the public's opinion will just like roll over?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not working. Like Hoover Institution and this like local media news channel, just to their credit, because they had a really good article doing everything, like going over everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're just pretty much like, so this isn't working. Why is the media doubling down on it? Like big media outlets, because it's probably going to have the opposite effect, where like your voters who are in the middle, your voters who are curious about what Smiley Gal was going to do at the border or what happened, are now like, oh, you're just outright denying it and trying to sweep it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well now that makes me not trust you.
Yeah.
And so they're, these are both independent orgs, right, that are just trying to like essentially be like, this doesn't look good. It's probably not going to work in their favor. They should probably just outright confront it and try to provide a good explanation on how it won't happen again.
Right.
Like all things, right? Don't lie to your boss or your stakeholders on why you dropped the ball. Own it and describe to them the solution and how you're going to enact it.
Yeah.
Sleepy guy, though. Sleepy guy.
Where's he been?
He looks taller. Yahoo says, no way, Jose. This was my favorite part. I was reading the Yahoo Answers article on this. It wasn't just like a forum Yahoo Answers. It was like written by, people who are the fact checkers at Yahoo. Here's the thing. Let me just come out and right say it. I'm not on the train that I 100% believe this guy is a double for Sleepy Guy.
The full conspiracy.
Yeah,
right?
I believe there's a lot of things, like it could be camera angles, it could be different shoes. He could be totally in lifts to make himself look healthier, taller stature, right?
Lose a lot of weight after being sick, you look a little taller.
Yeah, he is 6 inches taller than his wife.
Yeah.
So, and she's often in heels around him and all that, and everyone's like talking about how she's in these tall heels and he's just still towering over her. All I said, the best thing is like Yahoo Answers wasn't like, guys, if we examine these reference of articles and other images to get a picture of how tall he is and his difference in height and compare it to the camera angle here, and we use image enhancement, we can figure out that he's not any taller. They're just like this. I'm sorry, dude. I'm trying not to laugh at the mic. They're just like, people don't get taller after being sick with COVID.
And everybody's
that
like,
was their denial. I'm like,
well,
that's not what we're talking about, right?
Exactly.
We're talking about him being dead and this is a body double. And Yahoo's like, no. Look, we know with the way they said it, like, we know without a fact that there is no medical evidence that you get taller after being sick with COVID. And everyone's like,
exactly. That's
the joke went over your head, dude.
Yeah, that's the point. How did he get taller?
Part of me believes too, some of these things make the most erroneous reason why it's not true. So that way, later on, if it is true, they can be like, well, our reason still stands. You don't get taller after COVID.
Yeah.
Was it a double? Yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because he had COVID. And so like, and then PolitiFact also was like, no, it's camera angles. And they did a little bit better effort.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed like photographs of different angles and all that. And like I said, I also don't care. I guess I'd be sad if Sleepy Guy's dead. Because that would suck for him to just die while being a slave to the institution that puppets him.
Yeah.
But also, man, maybe the man just deserves peace. Just deserves rest. Here's the biggest thing, though. I cannot imagine being Jill if Sleepy Guy's dead and just having to be like, listen, man, we need you to just freaking hang in there a little bit. Look, you need to think about FDR and how he was a vegetable and his wife just kept on going for the nation.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be tough. That would be hard to put on that act.
Yeah. Putting it on for 4 years.
It's true.
They're kind of doing her thing.
Yeah. She also seems so much healthier than him. You know what I mean? Like in such better health and faculty than him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Any thoughts before I go on to Orange Guy?
No, I think that, for this old smiley gal, it's surprising to watch how many people are just like, all right, who's the new person?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the person. Okay, I'm in.
It's not Sleepy Guy anymore?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Yeah. And they're just like, well, all right, I don't want the orange guy to win.
Yeah.
So I'm in.
I'm a white man for Smiley Gal.
Yeah. In the
Dude, it is funny. I don't care what people say. Like, oh, more power to you, white guys for Smiley Gal, dude. Also, oh my gosh, I would have eaten my gun if I was stuck. Like, imagine you were like in a legitimate room with all of the white women for Smiley Gal. That was rough watching that. That was rougher than the white men for Smiley Gal. The white women for Smiley Gal was like, okay, there. So all of them are Karens. All of them are Karens dancing at home in front of their Zoom cameras and have no jobs, or they do have their jobs and they're literally not working, so they could be on this Zoom call and donate either the money they are stealing from work or the money they are taking from their significant others.
Yeah,
I was just like, it was the most like, I don't know. It was the scariest version of like, don't get me wrong, I tell my wife she's a boss babe all the time. But there's a difference between, your wife being a capable boss babe and then like the Karen boss babes that, think they rule the world and it's all owned to them. And that's all that Zoom call seemed to be. I watched like 15 minutes of it, man, and I was like, this is insanity. This is worse than the Taylor Swift movie concerts. I'd rather go back to those and be surrounded by like all the people dancing in circles having pagan sacrifices than be the Karen white women for sleepy Smiley Gal.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Because I mean, I've honestly never heard her say really a coherent or heartfelt sentence, and I've seen zero leadership ability. I mean,
she knows how to build roads.
She makes Sleepy Guy look elite.
You're right.
Which in his own right he is, but like
he was,
but just oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I also am just shocked that everyone just looks the other way. Like there's been no counter argument.
The lack of democratic process.
Well, that's a big one. The lack of not even democratic quote, but like, vote.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is like Smiley Gal literally kept people in prison, thousands of people in prison past their, parolee date in order to continue to have cheap labor to build roads in California. And I'm just like, how is no one like actually going to talk about this?
What was the melanin level of the majority of those individuals?
No, that's the thing. It was 1,500 of them.
Exactly.
1,500 black men incarcerated for marijuana charges that weren't felony level marijuana charges.
And now to be pandering to that vote.
Yeah. Which is, I think, is why that was a big thing that I saw with a lot of the black voters that were being interviewed. They were like, dude, she kept people locked up for slave labor. She's a hustler. All right. All that said, Orange Guy is out here doing some whack stuff. One, Orange Guy did that whole live stream where he was golfing with that pro golfer, which was, I'm gonna say it was pretty bitching. It was pretty badass. Like I don't even think they talked politics 1 second that whole time. I was just like, I don't even like golf. This is sick.
You could try to not like it, but it's
hard, dude.
It's just, oh man.
He did say
my favorite thing from that though was
the golf thing.
The golf thing was there was this part where he says like, he has an iPad hooked up to his speakers in his custom golf cart.
Yeah.
Which might make people so cringe, but also it's like, listen, that's the American dream right there.
The fact that he's 80 something and knows how to at least, I think he just turned 80, but he knows how to plug an iPad in and get music working. That's a big deal.
Oh yeah. And he's like, I have the best playlists, the greatest playlists, talking in his cadence and his way. Then like the guy was like, you're too young for this. You'd never know this song. And so he played Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
But people took that and started like memeing it almost, just this of him, and like the video was, they were stitching it together, him being like, this is way too old for you. And then they would just put with arms wide open. Just like put on a Creed or like
somebody wants yeah, exactly,
just keep
right.
Nickelback or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was great. And it's I don't know. It's like, am I just unchangeable? My proclivities just to be like, I watch that and I see that and I'm like, okay, like that's not pandering. That's just two guys having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wait a second, am I being pandered to?
Oh my God.
Maybe. Just like how there's with old Smiley Gal, there's all these like FaceTime calls. And like, girl. Like
yes.
Like, we gotta stop that guy. He's gonna take away your food stamps. Like basically like how she's talking on it's like there's also been a pandering like wait a second. It's worth evaluating, like, is the golf video just me being pandered to?
I think it definitely is. I mean, here's the thing. I've known that, I almost said his name. I've known that orange guy has always pandered to me. Like, he always has.
He's your target market?
I'm his target.
You're his target market, so I mean,
he's always pandered to the gun owners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, walking out stage with that, like, I think it was a 357 Henry repeater when he first ran.
I didn't see that.
Walk out on stage with the Bible. He's like, this is my Bible.
Yeah.
And kissing it. He's like, I love Jesus.
I read 2 Corinthians every day.
2 Corinthians 14, my favorite verse. But like, all that said, like, I know it's just pander. It's a pandering, and it doesn't work on me. Like, I've never voted. I voted for Orange Guy twice now. The first time was eyes closed. I know I'm not voting for Hillary Clinton, so I'll just vote for whoever else that the pencil lands on. Landing on Orange Guy. Second time, very deliberate. Like, I'm voting for Orange Guy over Sleepy Guy. But I didn't vote for him because I thought he was pro-gun. I didn't vote for him because I thought he was a Christian. I just voted for him because I thought it was going to be the best choice for the economy and the nation as a whole.
Yeah.
So that said, he did say this wacky ass thing that I think now I understand. I see through the lens of it, and I'm not trying to gaslight like we talked about Smiley Gal, but he literally said, Christians, get out and vote this one time, and you won't ever have to vote again. I'm paraphrasing here, but this is very close to what he said.
And that's how it's been reported, too.
Yeah. Well, you watch the video, right? And he says, it'll be fixed after the next 4 years. We'll fix it, and you won't have to vote again. And everyone's like, imagine like the icon, the thumbnail of everyone like soy jack pointing at what's going on. Or shocked emoji face.
I also picture the sand people with the rifle over their head.
But everyone's snapping like, oh, yeah, you said the Democrats are trying to rig the thing, and then here's this guy saying he's going to fix it. And I'm like, yeah, that would be bad. And if he tried to do that and stay past his term, I think there'd be a lot of people who voted for him who'd be like, well, wool's been pulled over my eyes, folks. I guess we're walking down to D.C. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's the difference, though, is like, I don't think the main demographic that votes for Orange Guy will roll over if Orange Guy breaks
become a dictator.
Yeah, I think that demographic will be like, well, shit, you pink-haired people, y'all were right. Here, take this Mosin gun. I'll teach you how to use it, and we'll walk on down there together. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I would be. I'm like, I'll eat crow the whole way.
Right. Yep.
I'll teach you how to make sure your buckles are tight to not have hot spots on your armor. All that said, what I truly believe Orange Guy was saying here was that, and it was bad phrasing, bad timing, I do believe he was saying that he will fix the system, like he will fix what's broken, fix the political correction.
Same thing as drain the swamp.
Exactly.
Phrase.
I think he was alluding to, like, if you vote this one time, we'll fix it in these next 4 years. That the system will be essentially cleansed, and you won't need to vote again because it will be a democratic process or a republic process, and we won't need you to come out and partake anymore,
right? Because
we'll have rebalanced everything the way it should be. Which I get the intention behind that and the ideas, and like that's the same thing with that's the same thing with going to like the Muslim vote or the black vote or the immigrant vote. Like black vote, immigrant vote, Christian vote, and Muslim votes are like and I'm talking like the true Christian, true Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
those are always the smallest demographics.
Mm-hmm.
The highest demographic turnout is people who are registered as political parties.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they campaign so hard for the black vote, even though the black vote or the immigrant vote may end up only being like 2 to 3% of the total vote. When everything's said and done and counted up, that 2 to 3% is what sways, counties, and counties are swaying states and electorates.
Right.
And then the Christian and Muslim vote, same thing, right? Jews historically turn out and vote. They actually turn out and vote pretty like consistently historically, other than like your Hasidic, more traditional Jews. But anyways, that said, I think that's what he was saying. Now, if it's not what he's saying, well, I'll tell you what, brother.
Right.
We'll fix it.
Yeah.
Give it 4 years.
Exactly. And like the, if anything, it's at least an empty promise for politics to all get fixed up.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's talking about like maintaining power eternally.
I just think he knows that'd be a shot in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Also, pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
You should watch this. Everyone should watch this. I'm talking to the older members of audience. If you're out there and you were born before 1960, no, scratch that. You're born before 1990. You need to go out there on YouTube and type this in. I almost said the word. I don't want to get canceled for our ad revenue. Look up the name of the orange guy and then the letters XQC and Aiden Ross. Now you're asking, why am I doing this? XQC and Aiden Ross are famous Gen Z. Yeah, I guess they might be millennials, but their primary audience is Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And they're famous Twitch streamers. And everyone watches them play video games. And all these kids are like, oh, XQC. And they like take their mom's credit card and they donate money on the Twitch stream to ask them questions, right? And these guys have huge audiences. They haven't been canceled yet for being pedophiles like so many Twitch streamers come out to be, right? And other stuff. But they have very dedicated fan bases that are very young, people who are just now turning the age to vote or maybe interested in voting. And they had Trump on. And Trump was just like, oh, damn, I said it. Well, it's probably this late into like YouTube won't catch it. Orange guy said he was just a human being. Like he just answered very human questions. He answered questions live from the chat. And he just was like really chill. And he's just sitting in a chair with like a crowd of like 10 people, 15 people behind him. And then Aiden Ross right next to him.
Yeah.
And like the camera's clearly just a camera on top of a computer. And it's just like the most down to earth, relaxing. And it was insane. It was weird. And all these people who are like not Republicans, they are not the demographic you think that would be liking Trump. They're all like doing their reaction videos on TikTok and stuff like that. And they're like, bro, humanized him, made him a human. I never seen Trump that way. And after hearing him talk, he's a human. And I can see why people who have heard him in person get swept up in it. And it was so weird, bro. I watched like parts of it and I was like, that is definitely the most humanized I've ever seen this guy, like politician wise. So lastly, there's conspiracy about him never being shot because his ears healed up so nice. Like, man's worth billions of dollars. Like you mentioned earlier off stream, like probably got plastic surgery.
They're going to fix him up nice.
Yeah. I mean, also it's an ear. Ask any girl who gets her ears pierced how long it takes that hole to heal up before it's not noticeable anymore. It heals up quick.
And a crusty old man got some texturing. You got some other like it blends in.
Yeah. So all that said, that's the latest news of the orange guy, sleepy guy, smiley gal. Nothing crazy, you know what I mean? But like, I don't know, people being fools and acting up, and they say crazy stuff all the time. I guess I just try to put a dose of sanity in it all to try to like level it out. The people who feel insane, I try to help them not feel insane. And the media trying to make us feel insane, I try to make sure to call it out, right?
Sure.
I don't know, man. Any kind of final things about those folks that you were thinking?
No, yeah, I think a lot of people feel the same way that they have the last couple election cycles, which is like kind of like in some ways like the worst choice. Just have to make like making the lesser of two evils here, or people are just really, and that's if you're a considerate individual. You're like, I just kind of got to like
thinking with your brain,
out, right? But then lots of other people are just swept up in if you're a red flag holder waiver, if you're a blue flag waiver, and then like we didn't even talk about scratchy throat guy,
Well, and like I was gonna say, I think I still might vote for him. Like I'm still very much like on the fence. I'm still thinking like I'll probably vote for him because my main thing that I've been poking on the forums on the internets is asking like, hey, internets, why would you vote for Smiley Gal over Scratchy Throat Guy? And I say, if all things considered equal, and he was on the ballot, why wouldn't you vote for him? Like, what policies do you not like that you wouldn't vote for? And like, no one has had a good answer. And everything I've read online and stuff, and like in the response to my questions online on Reddit and stuff, everyone's pretty much just been like, yeah, no, I would, but like, it just doesn't matter because he won't have the voter base behind him. I'm like, that's why.
Every single person's, that's what they've said.
Everyone. And so I'm like, I think I'm going to do it because if someone asks, because then I started asking the same question to, the conservative outlets and like, hey, why wouldn't you vote for, Orange Guy? Why would you vote for Orange Guy over Scratchy Throat Dude? And they actually had better reasons because I think, better reasons for their political beliefs, right? Because I think Scratchy Throat Guy might be a little too far left for a lot of the conservatives, whereas they prefer like more outright conservative policies that like Orange Guy's running on. And so with that, I think like there's more. I can understand the reasoning there more, but like you look at Scratchy Throat Guy's policies, like they're pretty much all in line in like the best version of a lot of the liberal policies. And I can like, I agree with his take on a lot of things, like especially when it comes to gun ownership. He's like, making it harder to buy a gun is not going to do anything. Like that's not how we thwart gun violence. I am not going to take away the rights of gun owners. Like I'm going to enhance the the opportunities for treatment for mentally ill. And I'm like, dope. That's exactly where I lie on that. So like you got my vote because the rest of his stuff, I'm like, I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do like the idea of him making it harder for corporations to buy homes. That sounds good to me. I do like the idea that he's going to make it harder for unvetted people to be teachers.
Oh yeah,
that was a really cool one. I also like his. I'm not even a like big old. I'm not a hostile environmentalist. I do like his policy on the environment and his plans for preserving the woods and mountains I enjoy. So I still think I might vote for Scratchy Guy. I gotta say the Orange Guy taking the bullet was.
I know it
badass as hell.
It put me on the fence there, and
made my blood pump.
Now I'll say this: like, if I, out of fear, I vote for the Orange Guy because I don't want.
And you're just as bad as him.
I know because I don't want the Smiley Gal to be in there. I cannot see that as being my commander in chief. But Scratchy Throat Guy, it's a chance for us to kind of shake up the old two-party system.
Yeah, which we need to desperately.
Something's got to get shaken up. So we'll see. We're like 120 days out.
I mean, from the new prez?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just about that actually.
Somewhere in there.
We're less than 100 days from election day.
Yeah.
So, well, Pat, you got anything you want to sign us off with?
The fear can control you, whether it comes in the form of a tiny little arachnid that's rather harmless,
I feel it controlling me right now.
or to putting all our eggs in one basket of these people who will, whoever they are, will just get richer and more powerful while we all do our thing. Fear is not the position from which to make any decisions ever. So, and I think that anything we can do to eradicate fear from our lives and take a step back and really gain perspective. Perspective is like, I think the main thing that's gonna, that lends, perspective is the main thing that, you know, frees us from fear in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an important thing to have. So get rid of fear, get perspective, and just do stuff to enjoy your life.
Amen, dude.
You know,
Amen to that.
that's all I got.
Read books.
Read some books, watch a mediocre TV show.
Yeah.
Kiss your lady,
Yep.
you know?
Love people. And I guess till next time.
Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.